Batman, better than ever.
Penguin's umbrella jet is wiping out the park.
In camouflage gear, air attack Batman takes off.
Knockout gas.
Penguin thinks he's won
It's Laser Batman.
on his laser blade cycle.
Gotcha.
Instantly, Batman is airborne.
You're grounded, Penguin.
Batman, better than ever. Figures and vehicles sold separately.
Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we are shifting our attention to Kenner's Batman Returns toy line from 1992. These figures were released to coincide with the theatrical release of Batman Returns. Now I have a lot of nostalgia for this time period because I was a huge Batman fan. During those years, I remember seeing the '89 film and then Batman Returns in the movie theater, and I had some of these toys. I had some of these figures, and there were several small vehicles produced as well as some of the larger ones like the Batmobile and the Bat ski boat as seen in the film. So when I look at these toys, I'm definitely filled with a sense of nostalgia, which is quite similar to what I would say when I review a Jurassic Park figure by Kenner or one of the older Star Wars figures and so forth. So I'm really glad to be looking at these because lately I've been having a lot of nostalgia for this film. Now as a kid, I did have the Laser Blade Cycle, but I did not have the Laser Batman figure. And the reason that I'm reviewing them together is because if you look at the artwork on the Laser Blade Cycle, you can clearly see that it has the Laser Blade Batman figure on it. The artwork clearly shows that that's the figure you're seeing on there, and the figure, of course, is designed after that artwork. Now, the whole concept of Laser Batman obviously sounds pretty crazy. Why would he need to wear this suit? He never wore it in the film. But what I like about the Kenner Batman Returns line is that they're not just changing up the colors of the suit for no apparent reason. They're actually giving it some level of feasibility. Maybe he had some sort of mission that he needed to wear that outfit. Who knows? But, at least there is a little bit of plausibility there rather than it just being like a neon orange color for no reason at all. Now, one thing I really like about this line is that Kenner stepped it up from the 1989 Batman Films toy line, the Dark Knight collection, by giving each figure and vehicle its own unique artwork. And I think they did a really nice job. It's got a very comic book inspired sort of look there, more so than it does from the film, but I think it looks great. The Batman figure there on the vehicle also looks really cool. For the figure, you have a very nice large size packaging that's not too different from the Kenner Jurassic Park toys that would follow pretty shortly after this. And basically that's a pretty spacious bubble with a figure that's a 4.5-inch scale and has some pretty neat accessories that are quite unique to the figure. Kenner was absolutely killing it back then, and this is no exception. The back of the box shows you so many figures and vehicles and all sorts of stuff, playsets, accessories, that were made available with the Batman Returns toy line, and I think that's just awesome because it's not something you see nowadays. It shows you exactly what you need to do in order to get this all to work. Snap the radar dish gear to the back of the figure. Dish can be positioned over a figure's shoulder. Press down on button to launch the missile. So nice instructions, and that is quite similar to Jurassic Park as well because they did tell you how to do all that sort of stuff. And there's just so much that was available during this line. There's a 15-inch Batman. You have some of the electronic figures, action figures that came with their own accessories, all sorts of Batmans, Deep Dive Batman, Air Attack Batman, Arctic Batman. Like I said, it's not just random Batman designs in different neon colors or anything. There's actually reasons that they are wearing these costumes. So, a little bit more plausibility there. There was Bruce Wayne, Robin, Catwoman, Penguin, literally penguins, and of course the very sought after Batmissile Batmobile. Some of these vehicles are very expensive and go for hundreds of dollars on the secondary market. You can see that there was a play set right there for the Batcave / Wayne Manor, and then some weapons and the Batman armor set right there. I so remember that. And Kenner proof of purchase. So, I really do like this packaging. It's actually still got the Toys R Us sticker down on the bottom. It costs $5.99. Not too bad. I remember getting the Laser Blade Cycle from one of my aunts, if I recall correctly. And like I said, I never had that Batman figure, but I did have other ones that I could place on the vehicle. So I did use other ones with it. As I recall, it was a pretty fun vehicle, and it's basically this sort of motorcycle thing that converts to a fighter jet, as it states right there. And I really do like this packaging. Like I said, Kenner knew what they were doing in terms of packaging, and they did a heck of a job. I mean, it's got a really nice Batman Returns sort of theme to it. Even if it looks more comic book-esque than movie-esque, it still looks really, really nice. And shows you how you can turn it from a motorcycle to a plane right there. So that's fun. You get some instructions here at the back. Tells you that Batman tears through the streets of Gotham City on his laser blade cycle. Danger ahead. Push a button and Batman escapes into the air. Batman can drop a disruptor device on criminals below. Figures sold separately. And don't miss these other exciting products. And, just so many fun figures and vehicles and all sorts of stuff that were available in this toy line. There's the side right there. Very cool. And it does have the Toys R Us sticker still on there. So this only costs $7.99, which is pretty inexpensive. All right, so now let's go ahead and review the figure and vehicle out of the packaging. So taking the cardboard little box thing that we have in here out, which is a little hard to remove. Let's see here. We have, there we go. Folds open like that. You have your laser blade cycle in this little plastic baggie. And then under the other flap right here, we get laser blade Batman cycle. Some instructions. It looks like these are for the stickers. Here's the back. Tells you how to operate the vehicle. Looks like the figure lies on top of it. And then we also have the actual stickers right there that need to be affixed onto the vehicle itself. And then a little catalog, which shows us what else is available. All the Batman Returns figures, of course, are in here. Some of these vehicles. There's the one we're looking at right now. And just a bunch of cool stuff. Batmobile, a Batcave, playsets. Just so much that they created for this film. And, Terminator 2. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but, starting lineup, I remember those. Mondo Blitzers. I don't remember those. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I do remember these, and I did have a few of those. So, very cool stuff. Capital Critters. I can't say I remember those really. They look familiar. Maybe I do. And Nerf, of course, which is still a big thing at Hasbro. So, okay, so looking at the figure out of the packaging, it does look quite similar to the Michael Keaton Batman costume, but it's laser Batman, so it's a little bit different. It actually kind of looks like bubble wrap. That's kind of what we're seeing here, and it looks cool. I mean, it's different. It's not supposed to be screen accurate. It's a Kenner thing, so it's supposed to look a little bit embellished, a little bit more creative, I guess I would say. I like what I'm seeing. I mean, it's, if you have the mind for something that's not film accurate, but it's still from the toy line belonging to a Batman live action film, then, I think you might like something like this. Now, there are plenty of other Batmans out there. So if this isn't quite your thing, well, fear not, because there's always Crime Attack Batman that you can add to your collection too. And as you can see, that's more a movie accurate representation of what Michael Keaton wore in those films, even though the bat suits were a little bit different between Batman and Batman Returns. But, we have the laser cycle, so we need the accurate figure to put on there according to the packaging. So give you a close-up here of the figure. It looks okay. I mean, at the time, this was a Batman figure. I remember being perfectly happy with this. And, this sort of design to me was just like the Batman figure to have. Not necessarily this costume, because like I said, I never had this particular costume. But, I did have the Crime Attack Batman. So to me, that was kind of the definitive Batman action figure. So this obviously is Laser Batman. So it's quite similar to that other one, only that the costume is this laser bat suit. It's all padded up. And I don't know, maybe it protects him from UV rays. I have no clue. And here at the back, you can see his costume there. Proportions aren't too bad. He's a little bit too buff, compared to what we see in the film. But considering this is a Kenner action figure, that's really not to be unexpected, especially with a superhero figure like this. The face is very simplistic. Does it look like Michael Keaton? Not really. I mean, he looks a little bit junky, a little bit comic book-esque, but it gets the job done, especially if you're a kid in 1992. You got the whited out eyes, the bat ears are nice and long, and all in all, it's not too bad. Like I said, back then, kids like me would have been perfectly happy with something like this. Bat logo right there looks very nice. The silver is a little bit shiny. It's got a little bit of a glistening sort of thing to it. And so does these shiny gloss black elements like the gloves, the shorts, and the boots. So, the physique is nice. He's got the little blades there on the gauntlets. And the belt looks pretty screen accurate. So, all in all, it's not too bad. The cape is just soft plastic. It has a little sort of a bendy sort of thing inside there that you can use to plug it onto his neck. But the material itself is just, soft cloth. It actually feels like nylon to me. Like it kind of has a little bit of a stretch to it. And as you can see, it's a little bit translucent. So to put it back on his neck, you basically just go like that. Just push it in. And as a kid, I would always lose these capes. So my grandmother would actually cut them out for me out of just, cloth. She would make me replacement capes, and, I would just slip them over the figure's head. And they got the job done. But, yeah, I mean, aesthetically, it's not too bad. It's a very simple figure, but I like what they did here. Laser Batman. Okay. I'll take it. You get a swivel here at the neck. You get swivels at both of the arms. And then you get swivels at both of the hips. So it's a 5-point of articulation figure. But it's totally adequate. So the accessory is this pretty crazy looking radar dish type thing. And you can see it has an articulation right here. You can kind of move that around. The dish is also, it looks like it's a separate piece. It's got the bat logo on there. And it's a clear purple sort of thing. Nice color. I like that shade of purple. And right there, it looks a little bit mechanical. It looks like something Batman would have in his arsenal for whatever reason. And this basically just clips around his waist. So we'll go ahead and stick it in like that. There we go. And then according to the instructions, you just set this like above his shoulder. I don't really know how he's going to see. But there you go. That's basically the idea. Is I guess that's the laser, right? That would be where the laser in the laser Batman name comes from. Now we also have the little projectile right here. It's very simplistic, not a whole lot to say about it. And that's going to plug in just like this. And yeah, now Batman he's ready to go. He's ready to go take on Penguin or Catwoman or whoever it is that he's going to be fighting pretty soon here. Now the way that this works is you got the little button right there. And kaboom, just launches out like that. Pretty nice. Okay, so turning our attention to the laser blade cycle. As you saw, it came with some stickers that had to be applied. I applied them. It was very tricky, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. But aesthetically, this looks pretty cool. I mean, it's basically as I remember it. You can see like the engine in there on both sides of the wings. So that's a pretty neat little thing. Down at the bottom, looks pretty plain, looks kind of hollow. You see the screws and all that, and then the launching bat missile sort of thing. I'll show you how that works. And all in all, it looks quite nice. I mean, I like what they did here. It's not anything we ever saw in these films, but it's pretty inventive. A motorcycle that turns into a plane. I mean, how can you not love that? It's just so fun. There's the inside right there. So what you do is you'll see that these wings are folded up. There's a little button right there. And what you're going to do is press it. And then you launch those wings outward. And now it basically turns into a flying vehicle. So it can take off. And what I like is that it does sort of have that aesthetic that we saw in the very first Batman film. When you think of the bat plane or the bat wing, it does look like that. Just a scaled down version of that also happens to be a motorcycle. Now for those decals, these are actually pretty easy to get on right here on the wings because there's slots right there that you just, put them into. So that's not hard at all. But these other ones, These have no slots at all. You just kind of have to wing it, no pun intended. Same with these back ones right there. So, I mean, there's not really slotting or anything for those. So you just kind of have to figure out what you want to do. And the box isn't all that helpful because, I mean, it shows you, like, you know, where they go, and the instructions show you where they go. But it's not really that great in terms of, you know, outlining specifically where you need to put these. So I just kind of put them where I thought they would look best. And what I do like is that they are these chrome stickers, so they do have a nice gloss to them. They're reflective, and I think that that's nice. And then the other thing, well, let me go ahead and get the figure on here first to show you how this works. So it does say that you need to lay Batman on there. So we're going to go ahead and lay him. We'll go ahead and move his arms forward like this. There aren't any controls for him to hold onto, but, you know, we'll just pretend. And then let's see here. Something like this. Something like that. That works. He kind of looks like in The Dark Knight when he's on the bat pod. Of course, that wasn't this Batman. So if you squeeze the arms together, you can kind of get him to brace himself in there. Now, since this is a very simply articulated figure, you can't make the head look up or anything like that. That works. I think that's pretty much the idea right there, is that he's on there. We can fold these wings back up. They just click in place. And Batman's on his motorcycle. And thanks to those wheels right there, we can move him back and forth. You get two wheels here in the front and one there at the back. Now, if we want to make him fly, we'll go ahead and hit that button. It's a little hard to access with the figure on there. And now he can take off into the sky. And there's also that launching missile in the bottom, that projectile that I told you about. So basically what you do is that same button back here that we used to launch the wings. We're going to go ahead and press it a second time. And it falls out. And I remember that being a very fun feature for this vehicle when I was a kid. I always liked making him take off into the sky and then drop this on, like the Penguin, for example. So it's a very simple projectile. It's purple, which is nice. And I like it. I think it's a nice little cool action feature. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Kenner Batman Returns Laser Batman action figure and laser blade cycle. All in all, you guys, there's a lot of nostalgia here for me, especially with this laser blade cycle. Since I had it as a kid, don't know what happened to it. I lost track of it over the years, but it's certainly fun to have one again. The figure is cool for being a different sort of Batman than what you saw in the film, more of an expanded universe type thing. I think they did a good job with it. I mean, it's fun. Yeah, the laser dish that he's wearing is so wacky and implausible, but, you know, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility either, which makes it fun. A Batman for every environment. And the laser blade cycle, I think, is actually really fun. I don't really like how the figure situates on it because he falls off easily, and there's not really a way to secure him. And he does kind of get in the way of pressing that button. But all in all, I think they did a good job with it. And maybe I'm just being kinder to it because of the nostalgia that I have associated with it. Maybe I'm biased in that way. But I do think that it's pretty fun. I like the design. I like how it's a motorcycle that turns into a plane. I think that's kind of inventive, and it totally seems like something Batman would have in his arsenal. So all in all, I really do like this. If you're a fan of the Kenner Batman Returns toy line, or you're just a fan of Batman and you like, you know, the crazy little costumes and wacky little vehicles that they made for him, then, you know, I think you might enjoy this. I personally love it. I'm so glad to have these in my collection. And I'm looking forward to tracking down some more old Kenner Batman figures and vehicles, some of which I had as a kid, some of which I didn't. But it's all good stuff, and you really can't go wrong when it comes to Kenner action figures and toys. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If so, do give us a like, do subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.